Opinion from rescue to reintegration. Rethinking India's diaspora policy. India's repeated evacuation efforts reflect a maturing foreign policy, but they also reveal systemic blind spots in migration governance. In recent years, India has conducted several high-profile evacuation missions to rescue its citizens stranded in war-torn or crisis-hit countries. From Operation Gunga in Ukraine to Operation Kaveri in Sudan, and more recently, efforts in Israel and Gaza amid conflict, these missions have drawn praise for their speed and coordination. However, they also raise deeper questions. Why are so many Indians regularly caught in the crosshairs of global conflicts? What compels them to be there in such large numbers, and why is their return always reactive, not planned? From students and professionals to migrant laborers, India's citizens abroad are increasingly vulnerable to geopolitical instability. It is time India evolves from a rescue-centric mindset to a strategy of long-term engagement, reintegration, and risk mitigation. Nanan. The Indian diaspora is among the largest in the world, over 18 million strong. But it is far from homogeneous. While much attention is paid to high-skilled NRIs in the US or UK, a large portion of Indians abroad are low or semi-skilled workers in the Gulf, West Asia, and Africa. Another growing cohort includes Indian students in countries like Ukraine, China, Russia, and smaller Eastern European nations drawn by more affordable medical education. These groups are often the most vulnerable. They live and work in politically volatile regions, lack robust legal protections, and are sometimes under informal or exploitative contracts. When crises erupt, be it war, civil unrest, or natural disaster, they find themselves with little safety net. Nanan. Before these conflict-based evacuations, India saw an unprecedented mass return during COVID-19. Over 1.8 crore Indians returned to their home states, not only from abroad but also across Indian cities. Whether it was migrant laborers trudging home or chartered flights under Vande Bharat, this was not just a logistical challenge, it was a social rupture. Yet the scale of that return has largely been forgotten in policy-making circles. No comprehensive national framework emerged for their reintegration, skill mapping, or future redeployment. Most simply disappeared back into informal economies or sought to leave again once restrictions were lifted. Nanan. India's rescue missions are commendable, but they must not become substitutes for sustainable policy. The following interventions are long overdue. Its components may include Honest Op portal for returnees, a digital platform to streamline credential recognition, job matching, tax clarity, and housing assistance, reducing bureaucratic and logistical friction. Reverse talent fellowships, structured, funded programs to bring back Indian origin scientists, researchers, and policy professionals for 35 years in academia or public systems. Global Mobility Task Force, a coordinated effort involving MEA, labor, education, state governments, and Indian missions abroad to institutionalize protections, skill portability, and crisis preparedness. Inclusion of experts from outside government. The mission should involve experts from civil society, academia, diaspora networks, and retired senior civil servants to ensure innovation and credibility. Nanan. When lakhs of Indians return home due to crisis, they bring with them not just hardship but also skills, global exposure, and aspirations. Ignoring them is a loss not only to them but to India's development story. Reintegration is not welfare, it is nation building. Nanan. Migration policy must move beyond the silos of the Ministry of External Affairs or Labor. A high-level interministerial task force, possibly anchored in NITI, should develop an integrated migration and reintegration strategy, in partnership with states, industries, and civil society. Nanan. Swipe left for next video. Every time a conflict breaks out, India scrambles to bring its people home. But between those headlines lie deeper systemic issues: unregulated migration, lack of support for returnees, and a policy blind spot that treats them as temporary guests rather than long-term contributors. India's people are its greatest asset. Whether they leave by choice or necessity, and whether they return in hope or despair, they deserve more than rescue, they deserve respect, reintegration, and recognition. Dheeraj Kumar Srivastava is a former civil servant. He has served as Resident Commissioner, Bikaner House, and as Secretary to the Chairperson of the National Advisory Council, under PMO. Views expressed in the above piece are personal and solely those of the author. They do not necessarily reflect NEWS18's views. Latest blogs.